Cameron, thank you very much for joining us. You're just a few days away now from being back into full cricket and eligible for selection for Australia. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty excited, to be honest. It's been a pretty long 9 months. There's been times where it's gone really quickly, and there's been times where it's felt long. It's felt it's felt like this is gonna take a little bit of time. But I think as certainly the first few months got out of the way, it became really positive, and there was even almost a sense of timelessness really with it all. I was there was a lot of enjoyment there, but cricket's the thing on the horizon now. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you mentioned the word positive. Obviously, we were messaging back and forth. We did a couple of training sessions, boxing down at the gym that we go to. Every contact I had with you, particularly at the earlier stage, I was amazed at how positive you were. Did you make a conscious effort to be that positive?
I think I've always been pretty optimistic, even in times where it's felt hard. Cricket is a good example, I guess. Times where your form's really struggling, or you feel like you're not sure where your next run's going to come from. There's a part of you that just wants to keep showing up because there's just some faith, or there's some hope that round the corner there will be something really positive. And I know in my life, even to that point, that the times where I had battled, the times where I had felt moments of hardship, that if I stuck at it long enough, it would change. And I guess that's what uncertainty is about, and that's certainly something that I had to embrace through this whole journey.
Talk about the journey. Let's go back to sort of where this journey started. Well, not even to the incident in Cape Town. Can you recall the lead up to Cape Town? The team, did the team feel under pressure to win? Did you feel any vulnerability about your spot in the team?
Yeah, I think after the Ashes particularly, we obviously played some really good cricket. I remember even in my first test, just the intensity out in the middle probably had risen 50% to what I would feel in a Shield game. And it obviously feels like Test cricket is a huge deal. You obviously know it's a big deal, you see it, but to then sense and feel what that's like was a completely different experience.
So the intensity of Test cricket surprised you somewhat. What about the team environment? What about on the day that all these events transpired? Can you take us into the mood and the events of what led up to that unfortunate situation? Yeah,
I think always in cricket and in the change rooms, even in the games prior to the game in Cape Town, it's about key moments, isn't it, in the game, and identifying those key moments and what you can control and can't control. And using sandpaper on a cricket ball is certainly out of the spirit of the game, but I guess a part of that is you're trying to take control of a particular part of the game. And I can remember on day 3 that day was pretty dark, it was pretty gloomy, overcast, it was a bit wet, and I think that was a big part of the reasons that led to making it, for me, to make a really poor decision.
Why did you make that decision to do that?
Yeah, for me, the decision was based around my values, what I valued at the time. And I valued fitting in. And I guess with fitting in, you hope that fitting in earns you respect. And, with that, I guess there came a really big cost, for the mistake. At the time, did I know any better? No, because I valued this thing called fitting in with the team, fitting in with, with my mates, earning respect from, senior players, and I guess, it led to an absolutely really destructive situation, emotionally, personally, and I lost cricket for that period of time. But the really interesting thing that I've come to myself about the why sort of thing, and I've asked myself this question a lot, where if I had said no, like what would that have meant? And the thing that I've inquired and thought about so often myself is, if I actually said no and I went to bed that night, I had the exact same problem. I had the same problem that I had using the sandpaper on the cricket ball.
And what's that problem?
And the problem was I would have gone to bed and I would have felt like I'd let everybody down. I would have felt like I'd let the team down. I would have felt like I would have hurt our chances to win the game of cricket. And if you actually look at both scenarios, they're both related to this idea that all I wanted to do was to feel, I guess, a sense of value. And if this is Cameron being really, really true to himself, and this is Cameron valuing these other things, you can understand how they're actually not the same thing. So I guess moving forward from that, this whole notion of being true to myself, that's been probably the part of me that I've had to really inquire deep within me, and to be able to understand that these things that I valued, which I'd probably been actually doing for years in my cricketing career without actually realising the effect that it was having on me. Pretty powerful stuff, yeah, for me anyway. Extremely.
Mate, and it must be challenging to talk about, but hearing you say the term, if I said no, plenty of speculation around the public, philosophise around, were you asked to do it?
Well, the interesting thing was at the time, yeah, definitely, I was asked to do it. I guess I just didn't know how to be true to myself in that moment. So I didn't actually know any better. I didn't know any better because I had no prior experience to kind of go, of course the act of using sandpaper on a cricket ball is wrong. But when you combine with that, this value to fit in and to feel, I guess, valued sort of thing, to earn respect, this, I guess, a part of culture that,
acceptance.
Acceptance, yeah, this part of culture that people crave, and certainly something that I craved. You can understand how they just don't fit together, those ideas. So as a professional sportsman, you have a bit of an ego, you have a bit of attachment to this identity of who you think you are, and to feel what I felt, to be able to, I guess, to fall down and absolutely crash and burn sort of thing. I take no other responsibility but the responsibility I have on myself and my own actions, because I'm not a victim. I had a choice and I made a massive mistake, and that's what's in my control.
Do you feel any anger or disappointment at the people who did ask you to do it? I mean, are you at liberty to say who it was?
Yeah. Oh, well, like at the time, Dave suggested to me to carry the action out on the ball, given the situation that we're in the game, and I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better because, I just wanted to fit in and feel valued, really. Yeah, simple as that.
Take you out onto the field quickly. What was going through your mind when Peter Hanscom runs out? Is that the first point where you thought, trouble?
I think I felt trouble probably way before then, when the picture of me was up on the big screen TV.
That's the first you noticed, sort of seeing the images on the big screen, was it?
Absolutely, yeah. There's no hiding when you're in that moment, is there? You're just completely vulnerable, you're completely in the open. Pete's got a smile on his face there, probably because he's trying to be as light-hearted as he possibly can, but...
What was the message?
I honestly cannot remember.
Really? Yeah.
I honestly can't remember. I was in a pretty dark place by that point, I think.
That quickly?
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that there was... I knew that I wasn't good. Yeah.
India 1 for 57 at lunch. This is the Bunnings Warehouse Big Break. Up next, more of the exclusive chat between Gilchrist and Cameron Bancroft.
And then the day plays out, you end up in the change rooms. The umpires come to you. Do you remember what their conversation was?
Yeah, I actually went in and apologised to the umpires. Yeah, I went in and apologised, and I just said, look, I'm really sorry for carrying this out in the game. I'm really ashamed of the actions in itself, and it won't happen again.
Yeah.
that's something that I wanted to do for the game and for the making up for the mistake. I'm not making up for it, really, am I? But I am being accountable for what I did, and that was exactly the most important thing to me.
And in that change room at the end of the day's play, there was obviously a decision made we need to front the press, like what you did. You went in front of the umpires. Who was making the decisions around that, and then what you went and presented to the press?
Yeah, I think in hindsight, the thing that I was actually sort of proud of in that moment was the fact that Steve and I wanted to be accountable and, I guess, really honest about our actions. Yep. And there was obviously a lot of opinion about why did that happen straight away, why didn't you wait until like the next day, but I think as well we probably didn't anticipate the extremities to which, you know, it was going to be reacted on by public, you know, media, social media, all this sort of stuff. But certainly in myself, that was something that I felt really, really strongly about, and something that I know Steve felt really strongly about as captain.
So just on that, you weren't sure how wide-ranging this was going to be. Is that what led you to say in the press that it was the tape with a bit of dirt on it?
That's actually really interesting, that. I mean, because I obviously, I lied about it, which is the truth, right? But for me, the whole issue I felt got forgotten about. The issue was actually the fact that I went out with an intentional decision to tamper with the ball.
Yep.
And I felt like that was forgotten a little bit because people cared about what I used on the ball more than the actual reason behind why I was using it, which I found really, really fascinating. So, and I wasn't sure if, like, you know, maybe in society there's this connection between, I don't know, just the truth, I guess. And but the whole why was the same. The why didn't change, but I guess that really hurt people, which was a mistake that I made. And I guess I went round in a circle, and there was a moment where I was able to rectify that and be honest about it. But that was a really fascinating sort of, I guess, moment in that, you know, those few days before I came back and did my press conference in Perth.
And you're right, you didn't shy away eventually from the truth. It was a challenging time, and the fact that you're here today, happy to talk about it, shows that you are staring it in the eye and want to take it on. The penalty, anger, frustration. It must be frustrating looking around world cricket and we hear everyone say everyone's doing it, and we've seen multiple offenders. Some individuals who have offended multiple times get hit with a feather. Has that been hard to take?
Yeah, it has. Like, I'll be honest, it has a little bit. And
but you didn't appeal.
No.
Which I think went a long way to the public seeing the signs of that you were prepared to take it on. Yeah,
I think it was just so hard. You know, it was a time where, you know, I guess people really valued as well, like how we were perceived and how we were thought about and things like that. But then at the same time, you're also trying to balance out this your accountability for your wrongdoing and your mistake, and where's the middle ground that lies between, I guess, the mistake you make, you know, the penalty, and also and I guess the punishment that eventuates from that. I don't know where we like sit on that. I mean, like, I feel like it obviously is going to raise like a lot of issues if other players make mistakes as well, which is like inevitable because we're not we're not perfect, are we? But you know, in this case, it was you know, for me it was a 9-month ban, and I felt like I had a choice to kind of lay in my own suffering, or I had a choice to kind of get up and start again. The politics and all that sort of stuff, that was completely out of my control. Of course, it affected me, you know, like definitely emotionally, but I think that was something that I was able to compartmentalise and sort of move past pretty quickly.
In your press conference when you returned, very raw, open, honest, You said you've got to set about the first step outside that door after the press conference. You're on the road to redemption and looking for respect. Do you feel like you've gained that from the public?
Yeah, I think I had to actually forget about the public for quite a while because you know, the public wasn't who I was. I was who I am, and I had to learn and see and discover like my true value. You know, I had to learn how to like kind of forgive myself first before I could actually forgive other people.
That was my next question. You asked for forgiveness, and I think the cricketing public will do if they haven't already. I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
Was there a point in time where you were able to forgive yourself?
Yeah, definitely. It was I guess I can't even think like it was a moment where it was like, yeah, bang, I forgive myself. But I think it was just it was time. It was time that allowed that to happen. You know, I can remember, you know, getting to a stage where, you know, and it happens where you post something on social media and you know, there's people out there that are forever going to like look at me and say, he's a cheat. He's the guy that cheated. Like, he's a cheater, and like, you know, point the finger and be really, really serious about it. I know that there's going to be people like that forever. And I think this idea of forgiveness came to me when, you know, a comment was made about that, and I didn't feel anger. I felt serious compassion, and almost like a sense of love and openness, because I didn't hold on to whatever, you know, whatever that was, or, you know, I had respect for it. You know, respect the past. That's like one of our values we hold at the WACA. But it made me have compassion for someone to kind of go, you know what, like, my mistake probably triggered a lot of stuff in their life. You know, like, I think when we see other people make mistakes, other people make wrongdoings, I almost feel like that the reasons why they emotionally kind of connect with us is because we've got something in our own life that actually maybe we're not proud of. Maybe it hurts us because we've actually done that in some way ourselves, and to kind of see that represented, you know, like that or whatever. It's reality to ourselves, and yeah, I can remember feeling that for some person that you know, that made a comment like that, and I thought, you know, I'm actually going to be okay. Like, I'm actually going to be okay. That was a pretty free sort of feeling to hold on to. Yeah.
Well, you look to me like you have sincerely looked in the mirror, and you look relaxed, at peace with it. You've identified the error and you've really moved on. What's allowed you to get to this space? You're super fit, you're ready to go. What's taking you to this position?
Lots of things, really. I've been able to do some amazing things over the last 9 months. You know, one thing that I didn't want this to be was just a box ticking exercise to kind of please people. You know, like, be given community service hours and do them for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, well, I wanted to. 100 you had to do?
Yeah.
I've been told you've done upwards of 200 hours.
Yeah. I didn't care about what the hours look like. If I had to do 700 hours, I did 700 hours, because I was putting 700 hours into something that was, you know, I was giving to something greater than myself. That was kind of my attitude towards it all.
What sort of things? Yeah,
so Justin Langer's patron for a foundation called the Kyle Andrews Foundation up in Broome. And he gave me an opportunity to go up there. He usually goes up every year, but obviously due to his commitments, he wasn't able to be there. And you know, that was just like a really beautiful start to, you know, to the journey. You know, up until then, it was really, really simple. You know, it was about getting up at the same time each day. You know, going to the gym to train. You know, eating healthily. Like, it was honestly as simple as that. And then this that experience really touched me, because I realised that I was sitting in this own suffering inside myself, and there were people that were fighting a battle greater than I knew. And to be able to connect, to feel, to touch that with those kids was pretty special to me.
Well, mate, I think the cricketing public have seen the way you've looked this in the face. You've shown your remorse and your preparedness to move on and learn from it. I think they and I wish you all the very best.
Thanks, Gilly. Cheers. Thank you.